Horns at half past. A lot going on this midweek. How about the Longhorn baseball wrap up their season opening 8-game homestand with a perfect 8-0 mark. Third run rule victory already on the young season. They did it last night 14-0 of UTRGV. 5 Texas pitchers held the Vaqueros scoreless on 4 hits. As we talked about, the freshman Sam Cozart, the right-hander, tossed 4 dominant frames, gave up a hit and walked a couple, but retired 16 batters, 8 by strikeout. He was just dealing and shoving it right into to Rio Grande. Man, this guy is something else as a freshman. He's going to be a factor, Jay. I know you got Dylan Volantis and you've got Ruger and you've got Luke Harrison, experience like Max Grubbs. You got veteran guys he brought in from the portals, but this freshman is going to be a factor. He kind of reminds you of the it factor we were just talking about that you saw from Dylan Volantis last year. There's just you know, if you're good enough, you're old enough, and stuff doesn't have an age. He's got stuff. He's got we've told you about Sam Cozart when we spotlighted him as our new player spotlights. He's got 2 older brothers that are big time baseball players. I think some of them played minor leagues in college. His dad's a college baseball coach. This guy's grown up in a baseball household, and then he's just physically imposing. He's got a great way about him. He's not rattled. He just here it is. Go get it. And his stuff is really, really elite. He'll be a factor in SEC play for Texas.
I think that's right. And especially when you're talking about later on into the season when you're going to have to use a lot of arms.
Yep.
And you kind of get towards the back of that bullpen to see what he's able to do. I know it's Rio Grande Valley, but we've seen him pitch already. We've seen him pitch in these regular season series when the games have gotten out of reach. And for a young guy to get in that early, like you said, if you're good enough, you're old enough, Sam Cozart, he can hurl it. And he's big. He's just big.
It's one of those things you try to tap the brakes because he's a young guy, but at the same time, it's much like for me, Volantis last year. This guy is really,
when a guy
really
pops,
good.
a guy pops, right? Like you just see it in certain players in certain sports, like Trey Johnson. We saw it right away. You're like, oh, this kid is special. Bijan Robinson, we saw it right away. Oh, this kid is special.
A little different, right? The stuff, the way it comes out of his hand, you're like, oh, okay. All right, good luck.
Sometimes you just can't teach, like,
and look,
some of it's God-given, right?
And let's be honest, you'll see a lot better hitters come SEC time and lineups and that kind of stuff. We all get that. But that's why they're getting him these starts now on a Tuesday. And he's kind of moving into that next guy because, Jason Flores started the game last Tuesday. He
struggled a little bit.
He pitched last night, but later in the ballgame, one of the 5 pitchers. I think they see and we see. Well, they see what we see, obviously, closer than we do. But the offense got it going, 15 hits, 14 runs. As Patrick Osborne said, they scored in all 6 of the 7 innings, including this guy who is a 5-tool, has shown 5-tool abilities already. Aiden Robbins with the plate. The wind was blowing out last night, and he went opposite field.
On deck, if Robbins can keep this inning going. They'll have a chance here, punches out towards right, and Texas will strike on this Tuesday night.
That was the first run of the ball game.
The bat of Aiden Robbins. He knows the way.
This guy's going to be a fan favorite, man. He brings so much energy. Opposite field stroke. Schloss has talked about he's never had a lineup with this many right-handed hitters that will use all fields, and Aiden Robbins is one of them. That's why he batted .430 last year at Seton Hall and led the Big East in pretty much every statistical category. He is a dude now. And Carson Tenney out of Notre Dame coming in. This guy got one over the batter's eye last night. The wind was blowing out, so a little bit wind-aided, but it really didn't need the wind.
Situational at bat.
Oh.
Shot out towards center. Carrying on this Texas night. It's gone by a mile.
You know what they say? Sometimes it just sounds different. Oh, man, did he center that ball. Got it the backspin going, and that thing just over into the graveyard there. What is that, the parking lot across the street, McCombs Field across the street?
Yeah, Kamal Street back there.
Yeah, and just like, that wasn't pulled. That was right center for a right-handed batter. Just right of center. I mean, this thing he went with it again. Right-handed hitter going to all fields, and he smoked that ball. And the Longhorns with 14 runs. Here's Jim Schlossnagle after the ball game. Pretty happy about the 8-0 homestand. Now they're off to Houston for the weekend, and we'll preview that. But here's Schloss, after another run rule win, that is 3 out of the 8.
I feel like we've pitched really well and gotten some timely hits, which scored a bunch of runs with 2 outs today. So good baseball, we'll take it.
Speaking about that pitching, Sam, first career start, what you think about it?
He did great. I thought he got a little deep into some pitch counts. I think he was throwing a little harder tonight. You could tell he was fired up, but he got a little deep in some counts and walked a few guys, which he doesn't normally do that too often. But he's allowed to have a kind of a B+ day versus the A+ day all the time. I thought he did a great job. Max went out had a visit with him, fourth inning, and then he punched a couple guys out after that. So he did outstanding, and he definitely could have gone back out, but we had several guys we wanted to get in the game tonight, Flores being one of them, certainly Cal, Walker. So would have been nice to get a few others, but score the runs, we'll take it.
All right, so there you go. Sam Cozart, a little lamped up, but that's all right. He struck out 8 batters out of 16 outs that he recorded.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. We'll take that if you're Texas. We're going to get to this Texas basketball game coming up, mostly in our next hour. We'll go 7:30. We'll get a deep preview of what Sean Miller's team has to face tonight. I'll just say this about Florida, Jack. This is a bad matchup for Texas.
It is.
I heard Jeff and Ed talking about this yesterday, and they're having a bet, I think. Those guys bet on everything. But here's the thing about Florida, y'all. Florida's the best defensive team in the country, maybe. And they're the best interior defensive team in the country, maybe. I mean, the strength of Florida, you realize that they lost their first conference game, Jack, part of a 5-4 start for them. They lost their first conference game to Missouri at Missouri. They're 12-1 since. 12-1. Mm-hmm. They've won 7 in a row. And here's this issue for Texas. Their strength, physicality at the rim, elite rebounding, interior scoring. They're one of the top defenses in the country. And what is Texas's biggest weakness? Thin front court, vulnerable to foul trouble. Team ranked right now, Texas 200th in scoring defense, coming off a terrible performance this past Saturday at Georgia. The Texas guards could have a bit of an advantage, but the guards at Florida have been playing better. Here's Sean Miller. He understands not having good defensive effort or not being good on defense, and that end of the floor at this time of year is a real problem, and they were really bad against Georgia.
You have the numbers. This is probably the worst defensive team that I've ever had. It's disappointing because it's one of the best offensive teams. If you just look at the history, when you are an efficient offensive team scoring and you just kind of go through what we've done through 27 games now, and on the offensive end, there aren't going to be a lot of teams that you're going to say were any better ever. And that's a big statement. And what we've given back is just we've had a difficult time getting stops. All
right, and that's where it's at. And this Florida team, man, Chenalou down low. If you haven't seen a dude in 6'10", guy out of Africa, came out of the NBA Academy in Africa. This dude Chenalou is really, really good. He might be the best interior defender in college basketball. And if you remember, the team that won the national title last year, it was guard driven. No question about that. But, when you're looking at that group, I mean, they've got the Condon, the Australian kid.
Yeah.
He's on the front line. They got another forward averaging 17. They got Chenalou.
Thomas Houck might be the SEC player of the year.
Yeah, he's that good.
Their 3 best players all hover around 6'10".
And that's
just something Texas can't hang with.
Yeah, positional height, interior strength. Todd Golden's really built his team, and we'll hear Sean Miller talking about that coming up. I wanted to get one more with Sark here because Sark, coming off the press conference this week, lining up the spring. So if you're thinking about, okay, how's this spring going to work for Texas and what's the plan? There is a spring game in April. They didn't have one last year. We wanted to know what Sark's plan and vision would be for the spring because he's talked about moving to more of and by the way, that game tonight, basketball, 6 o'clock. Early tip. Sean Miller is encouraging you, if you're going to the game, get out there early, get in the seats. The one thing that can help Texas tonight in a big way is the home crowd. Texas is 12-3 at home. Big crowd, get under the skin of Florida a little bit, get the momentum. But it's a 6 o'clock game. We know with the construction and the everything, get there early. Texas tips off early, not the 8 o'clock tip tonight, the 6 o'clock tip on ESPN2. But here's Sark, what the plan is for the spring coming up March into April.
From a spring practice perspective, we'll start March 9th, and we'll go 3 practices that week. That'll be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll do 3 practices, and then we'll go to spring break, and then we'll come back and do 12 more, and those will be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday format. And again, there's been years we've done this. I think we've done this once or twice in the past. And a lot of that, quite frankly, it's not because I want to or I don't want to. It's more predicated on our final schedule, truthfully. When I was like, well, why are they doing that this way this year? Because to be fair to our players, our players have to go to school at the University of Texas. They have to go in person. We don't get to go online every day and do it maybe like some other folks get to do it. And so I have to give them a week to get ready for finals. If I would have pushed spring ball all the way back till after spring break, we would be butting up right to finals. So that's the genesis of why we're doing it that way this year. And then we try to find the benefits in doing it that way. I think it gives us a chance. One, with a lot of new faces, some new coaches, a new defensive scheme, to get the base install done in the first week, let them go on spring break, and then come back and kind of do it again. And so we're stealing a week that way. So we're looking forward to spring ball. But like I said, the guys are working very hard on that front. Naturally, we had.
All right, so spring ball, Sark said that a couple times. Our guys go to class. They go in-person class. He was pretty adamant that academics are still important at Texas, and I know people snicker at that, and I think that's why over the course of a 50-minute press conference, he mentioned academics and the grade point averages and whatnot several times.
Yeah, good handful of times there.
Yeah, he did. And we'll have a discussion about that later on because he did talk about how his players still go to class. It's still important to him and his program, although others think it's they're not student athletes any longer. They're just highly paid athletes, which two things can be right at once. Two things can be true in a lot of cases.